Hi SMR, it's Miss Bendon here. I miss all of you. I miss being at school. I miss us all being together. So I've come up with a plan, a challenge for you all if you would like to take part. So I love cooking. This is for the whole school. I'm going to start it. We're going to do a cook along with Miss Bendon. I'm going to cook one of my favourite recipes that you guys can cook together at home. You can make lunch for your family. And then I'm going to post this video. You hopefully are going to look at it. You're going to cook. And then you're going to send us your photos of your food and we're going to see what everyone has created. And then I'm going to pass on the cook along apron to the next member of staff and they're going to share with you one of their recipes. So I'm going to cook two things that go really nicely together and are two of my favourite things. So we're going to make a really good lunch, which is leek and potato soup and cheese scones. We're going to cook the cheese scones first and then I'll show you how to make the leek and potato soup. Okay, so let's start with the cheese scones. You need to do a few things before we start cooking. One, you need to wash your hands. Clean hands are really important when we're cooking, and make sure all the surfaces are wiped down because we're going to be rolling things out on the surface in a minute. Apron to cover your clothes would be really helpful so you don't get flour all over your clothes. And you do need a grown-up for some of these things, and I know your grown-ups are really busy at the moment, so make sure you do it at a time when your grown-up is free to help you. You can do it together. Okay, so I've turned my oven on. You need to turn your oven on to 180, so get your grown-up to turn your oven on to a 180 fan. And you need a baking tray and some clean grease-free paper, which I have put on top of my baking tray. Okay, the utensils that you need are a mixing bowl, some scales if you've got them, a rolling pin if you have one. If you don't have one, then be creative. You can use cling film roll, a tin foil roll, I'm sure you'll find something in your house. A measuring jug if you have one. Cheese grater. And I think that is all the utensils you need. Then ingredients, you need some self-raising flour. So not plain flour, self-raising flour. That's going to make the scones grow. You need some self-raising flour, you need some butter or baking block, it doesn't have to be dairy, but you need some sort of fat, so I'm using butter. You need some baking powder. I've got a little pouch of mine, but you could just do it from a big pot. You're going to need a teaspoon of that. And you're going to need some milk, okay? Now, I'm going to put a little bit of mustard powder in mine, but you could leave it out. You could put cayenne pepper in, you could put some herbs in, you choose what flavour you want. Okay, so we're going to start once you have all that together. So welcome back. Have you got all those things? Great. Okay, we're going to get cracking. So first of all, you need your mixing bowl and you need your scales. Now, my scales are being a bit temperamental today, so you cross your fingers and think good thoughts that they're going to work for me. I'm not even turning on now, hang on, there we go. Right, so I'm going to put my bowl on the top and then I need to press the button again to get it back to 0 so that it doesn't, fantastic, it doesn't do the weight of the bowl. So we're going to start with the flour. We're starting with the dry ingredients. So you need your self-raising flour. And you're going to pour it in your bowl. You can do it through a sieve if you like, and you're going to do it for 225 grams. So I'm still shaking them on 180. Oh, okay, so I'm on 116, 17, so I need to go really slow. So don't want too much. Can I do it perfect? Oh, 226, I'm going to stop there. 1 over. Right, so that's my self-raising flour. So I said I need the dry ingredients. So I'm going to put my baking powder in. That's going to make it do some more Grate rising. Okay, so shaking that in. So as I told you, I'm going to use a tiny bit of mustard powder to give it a little bit more flavour. I'm going to use a teaspoon to do that. I'm going to put in, what do we think? Half, like a flat teaspoonful. So I'm going to shake that in. Now, The recipe says a little bit of salt. We can put a bit, I'm going to put a bit of salt in mine. You can leave it out of yours. And let me just check. So we've got our flour, our salt, I've used mustard powder, our baking powder. Okay, so that's all the dry ingredients. So I'm going to move him off the scales, and then with a wooden spoon, you also need a wooden spoon, thinking of all these things you need afterwards, you're going to just stir that all around, make sure it's all mixed up together. Okay, then, so that's your dry ingredients. That's the flour, the baking powder, the mustard powder, and a little bit of salt. I'm just going to put that here for a moment and come back to my scales, if they work, and we need 55 grams of chilled butter, so you can take it out of the fridge. Okay, I've got it on 0. I'm going to see how much I've got here. Okay, I've got 150 here, so 150, I need 55, so I'm going to need about a third of this then. So 150 divided by 3 is 50, I need 55, so I'm going to guess this much. Let's see. Just going to use a chopping board, put it back on 0 so we don't have the weight of the chopping board. Right, let's see, was I right? Ooh, 60, so I was close. I'm just going to chop a tiny bit off the end there, put it back with my other butter. Not quite enough. Let's see now. Ooh, 57. Okay, so I'm going to stop there. That will do. So you now need to cube the butter. So you need to cut it into cubes with a knife. So I've cut it one way, and now I'm going to cut it this way. Okay, then you are going to put the cubes of butter into your dry ingredients. We're going to make it into breadcrumbs, so you really need clean hands. I've just washed my hands. You really need clean hands for this, and I've taken all my rings off, all my jewellery off, so because I'm going in with my hands. And you are going to mush the butter and the flour with all its other ingredients together. Your hands, can you see, like this? And you need to get the butter all the way through. You are going to get messy hands, but don't worry, you can wash them. And I've got my apron on, so my clothes are okay. So it's starting to go crummy, but I can still feel big lumps of butter. So I'm going to keep going. It's going to take a while to get it all amalgamated. That was a long word, sorry. Put it all together. I'm using my fingers. Ooh, this is going good. I'm finding some like big bits of butter, so I'm just going back through with my fingers. And can you see now? I don't want to get this on my laptop, but can you see it now? The flour's a bit thicker. It's like breadcrumbs. Still going a bit because I can see bits that aren't mixed. Okay, perfect. Right, so I've got my breadcrumb mixture. Now I'm going to make a well. This is called making a well, when you make a hole in the middle and you push all the rest of the mixture to the side. And then I'm going to go wash my hands, and I'll see you in a minute for the next bit. Okay, right, I'm back, and there's something I've got to do. So I've got clean hands, that's fine. I need to grate the cheese, and then we're going to get our hands back in the bowl, and we're going to mix the cheese in. So I just got cheddar that I had in my fridge, the last bit. I'm going to use this chopping board again. Let's see if my scales work. Cross your fingers and think good thoughts. I might need to use 2 hands. There we go. Right, and then put it back to 0 again. Fantastic. Okay, so let's see how much cheese I've got. Okay, I've got 155 and I need 120. So that, if I go half, that will be just over 75. So if that's 75, I'm going to try here and see if I can get my 120. Let's see. Ooh, 114. Okay, so let's break a little bit of him. Ooh, 121. So close. Okay, so I've got my almost 120 grams of cheese. I've got my cheese grater, and you're going to grate your cheese ready to put in your scones. Okay, so I've just finished grating my cheese. Here it is here. Try not to eat all of it as you grate it. I know what you're all like. Okay, so we are going to put in most of the cheese to the mixing bowl. So it was about 100 grams, leaving 20 grams left. I'm not going to weigh it again. I'm just going to put most of it in and leave, this is just for the top. So I'm going to break my well because I need to put this cheese back in. So it's fine to make mistakes, don't worry, I do it all the time. We can easily go back and fix that. We put the cheese in now. Okay, so now can you see the cheese is all mixed? You can't really see it anymore, but we know it's in there. It's all mixed, and I'm going to make my well again, so it gives me a chance to practice making my well. There we go, so I've got the hole in the middle. I'll just quickly wash my hands. Right, just to get the flour off. And then we need about 100 millilitres of milk. So I'm using my measuring jug. And here we go. Right, I have got, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this. So I have filled it up to the 100 ml mark. Okay, now what we do is I'm going to add it really slowly. So I'm going to put a bit of milk in, and I'm going to get my wooden spoon back, and I'm going to start stirring it. The reason why we don't put it all in yet is because we might not use all this milk. It might make it too wet. So I'm going to put a bit more in. And I'm just going to check that I've got this right. Yeah, okay. So a bit more in. I think our mixture is going to use all of this, but we'll see. I think I'm going to have to get in with my hands in a minute. Make it into a really nice dough. Okay, so let's check. Do you know what? I'm putting it all in, and I'm actually going to go in with my hands now and make the dough. So I'm going to get right in there. I've got clean hands. I'm going to mix it all together. Don't want to melt the butter too much with my hands, so I need to do it quickly. Just going to get all the bits up off the bottom of the bowl. And in a minute, we're going to roll this out, so it's going to be a nice flat shape. Okay, almost done. Let's get the last little bit of milk from there. We need a tiny bit more moisture. Okay, in a minute, once we've done this, you're going to need your flour back again to dust an empty bit of clean work surface. Just getting all the bits off the bottom. Fantastic. Okay, so you should now have your dough mixture. Okay, I'm back with clean hands. Now I'm going to see if you can see this. Okay, so I've got my clear work surface here that I've wiped down. I'm going to pour a bit of flour on it. I actually put too much then, you don't need that much. And I'm going to move some to the side. This is the messy bit. You're going to put your flour here on the work surface so it doesn't stick when you roll the dough. So here's my dough, and I'm going to put it here, got my rolling pin, and I'm just going to make sure he's a nice round. You're going to roll your dough out. Now we want it to be 2 centimetres thick, so you could get a ruler if you want, you could use your eye. I'm going to use my eye. Think about something that is about 2 centimetres. I'm going to roll it this way, and then I'm going to roll it this way. So at the moment I would say probably is about 2 centimetres thick actually. Maybe just push it this way a little bit. Okay, there we go. So I think mine is about 2 centimetres thick. Now you're going to need a cutter of some sort. Traditionally you'd use a round one. Hello. I have got a 5-sided one. Who can remember what that shape is called? A pentagon, well done. So mine are going to be pentagon shaped. If you don't have any cutters, you could just use a glass or a mug upside down. Okay, so I'm now going to go to the edge so I don't waste any, and I'm going to push down. Look here, if I carefully push it out, here's my first one, and I'm going to put it on the baking tray. So let me just show you what I've done there. I've put it on the baking tray. I'm going to do that with the rest. Okay, so here are my finished ones. I managed to get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 out of my mixture. Oh, that was silly. Hang on, let me just... Okay, so they're almost ready to go in the oven. We're just going to do the finishing off. So I'm going to glaze mine with a little bit of milk to make them shiny. So I'm using one of these to put it on, but you can try and improvise, use what you've got. So I'm just putting milk on the top. This is going to make them shiny. Okay. So what I did, I think I managed to get 4 out of the first one, and then I just rolled it out again to get, so I didn't waste the dough. Okay, so they've all got milk on them, like that. Not loads, we don't want to swamp them, just a little bit. And then, remember that little bit of cheese we left over, we're just gonna give a little sprinkle, or should I do it back here that you can see, sorry. There we go. Some for you. Some for you. Oh, you've got a lot, big bit. Some for you. Some for you. Let's pinch a bit off there. Right, and there we go. Here are my scones that are going to go with my soup, and I'm going to put them in the oven now. So remember, the oven is already on 180 fan, and these are going to go in for 15 to 25 minutes. So set a timer, look out for them, and I'm going to tidy up, and then we're going to make the soup. Okay, welcome back. So the scones are in the oven, they're smelling delicious, they're looking delicious, can't wait to eat them. And now we're going to make our soup, which is really simple, and it doesn't need very many things. So, and you can substitute things. So I've got my biggest saucepan, okay. I've got a colander to wash the leeks, but if you don't have a colander, so something with holes in it, then you can just put them in the sink and wash them. You're going to need a potato peeler, you're going to need a sharp knife, so again you're going to need a grown-up to help you. Make sure your grown-up knows you're doing this and they're helping you. You're going to need some sort of spoon, this is the one I'm going to use, and to make it blended, I'm going to use a stick blender to blend it all up. If you don't want to have one of these, you could use a smoothie maker if you've got a smoothie maker, or you could just use a potato masher, it just won't be as smooth, okay? And the ingredients that you'll need are some leeks. I've got these 2 big ones. So as you probably need about 2 or 3. I've got 2 big ones. I've also got some potatoes that I had left lying around. These, I've got 3 this size, that will do. Just use whatever you've got. I'm going to use some vegetable stock. And I've just boiled the kettle, and I like to put a bit of milk in mine, so I'm going to leave my milk out, and I'm going to use butter, but you could use oil to fry the leeks in. So we're going to start by preparing the leeks. Now, leeks, because obviously they've grown in the ground, they took a bit too much off there. They get quite gritty, so that's why we've got the colander, because you really need to wash them, because they will. Can you see here that they've got soil and sand and things in them? So what we do is we cut them first, and then I'm going to chop the ends off here. I'm going to hold, remember you need to be doing this with your grown up so that they make sure you're okay. Now there's lots of sand and dirt in here, so I'm going to cut this first. I'm just deciding whether I want this bit or not. I don't think I want this bit. That bit was a bit tough. So here we go. And can you see we've got this grit here? So carefully I'm going to cut my leek into rounds like this. I'm going to put it into my colander, and this is going to have such a big wash because it is so sandy and soily. Okay, so I'm going to cut these all the way to the end, put them in my colander. So I'm going to put them in here, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and do my other leek. I'm going to wash them, and then I'm going to come back. Okay, hello, I'm back. So the leeks are all washed. It took me quite a while because you really need to make sure you get the grit out, otherwise you're going to have gritty soup. And I have turned the heat on under the pan, about medium heat, on my hob, and I'm going to use a bit of butter to cook the leeks in. So I'm not going to weigh it out because I don't actually weigh things for this recipe. This is just what I've learned over the years. So I'm just got a bit of butter, I'm putting it in the pan, and then this is going over the heat. And when that butter has melted, I'm going to add the leeks to it. Now I've got exciting news for you, that I've just taken the scones out of the oven so you can see what they look like. There we go. So can you see they're golden brown on top? They've kept their pentagon shape. I'm looking forward to eating those in a bit, and they've risen. Okay, so the butter is melting. And so the butter is melting. You can still do this on the hob. I'm just going to show you so you can see for the camera. I'm going to put the leeks in, and I'm going to push them open because they're going to separate. We want them to separate as much. Oh, and I've just noticed a bit that hasn't been washed, so that is not going in. I do not want to eat soil. And then we're going to put these in here. Sorry, here we go. And then I'm going to put that on the heat. I'm going to mix it around, then I'm going to put the lid on. So when I put the lid on, it's going to help them to cook better, but I need to mix it all around with the butter first, and then they're going to cook in the butter and get soft before we next do the next bit of our soup. So let me just mix it all around. Okay, and then I've got the lid of my pan, and it's on top of the leeks, and they're just going to cook there whilst we do the potatoes. So I'm going to use a potato peeler. I'm going to do it into here actually to save the mess. So I'm just going to quickly peel these potatoes, but carefully, obviously. And then we just want to get these really small because we want them to cook quickly in our soup, because this is a quick soup. So the smaller you cut them, the quicker they're going to cook. Okay, and it doesn't matter about the size because they're going to get blended up. So my 3 potatoes, just getting the skins off them, and then I'm going to cut them. See you in a minute. Okay, so welcome back. Just for quickly, I just want to show you the progress. So I have cut all the potatoes and I have cut them into, like, diced them like this size, so they're about a third of my finger. And then the leeks, which do have the lid on, I just took it off to show you. So they've been on for about 5 minutes and they're getting softer and breaking up, but there's still quite a bit of way to go. You can hear them sizzling. Some of them have gone soft, some of them are still whole. You kind of need to break them up with your spoon. So keep them on with the lid on and then keep stirring every minute or so. Okay, welcome back. So my leeks are pretty cooked now. They're soft and they're going to keep cooking in the water, so as long as they're soft and mostly broken up, that's totally fine. That's what you want. So this is where I estimate a bit now. So I'm going to put my stock straight into the leeks, and I've just boiled the kettle. So, oh, sorry, one step ahead of myself. So we're going to put the potatoes in with the leeks, like this. Probably it would be fine with only 2 potatoes. I've actually got quite a lot here. It's going to be quite potatoey soup, but that's fine. So just going to mix that up a bit, and that stock pot is in there. So you could use any type of stock you want. So then you're going to use kettle water. So again, you need help from your grown-up. So you're going to pour the water in. Basically, as much water as you put in is what soup you're going to get. So I am just going to cover the vegetables. Okay, so I've just covered them, and I'm going to really carefully, because remember this is hot water, boiling water from the kettle, I'm just really carefully going to stir it in. Make sure that stock cube's in. You could make the stock beforehand if you wanted to. Just going to stir that all up. Now I agree it doesn't look very appetising at the moment, but we haven't finished yet. You need to be patient. So I'm going to add lots of pepper because I love pepper in my soup. I might add a bit more in later. It's going to go loads of pepper, but up to your taste and your family's taste. And then I'm going to add a little bit of salt, but again, up to you and your family's taste. And then, so you don't need to put salt in it. Just going to stir that all in again. And now, this is just going to cook for 10 minutes on the hob. And we just need to cook the potatoes basically, so they're hard at the moment. After 10 minutes of boiling, or simmering, sorry, bring it to the boil and then simmer, they're going to be soft and we can turn it into soup. So I'm putting my lid back on and I'm turning. Right, so they're on a medium heat. Oh, that's better. They're on a medium heat, and it's going to be about 10 minutes and then it's going to be cooked. We're going to let it cool down and then we're going to blend it. See you in a bit. Hi. Okay, so welcome back. Oh, this is smelling so good. What we have now should look like this. So mine was cooking actually for about 15 minutes. And what I needed to do to check that it was all cooked was just get the potato, and I put the spoon and the spoon cut through it so it's soft enough now. And then I actually left it for about 20 minutes just to cool down a little bit. Okay, so now I put a bit of milk in mine. You don't have to, I just find it makes it a little bit creamier. So I just put in a bit of milk, but you don't have to do that. And then I'm using my electric stick blender to make it into soup. Remember, you could use a potato masher, it just won't be as smooth. So again, remember this is really hot, so be careful not to touch the pan, and you need a grown up with you. So you're going to put the stick in here, and you're just gonna, this is the fun one, the higher setting, and you should be able to see if I come back. Okay, so I'm going to carry on doing that and I'll see you guys in a bit. Okay, so I've almost finished the last bit. I've got a really smooth soup. So I'm just going to move this out of the way. Okay, so this is at the moment. Oh, about to use a potato masher to ladle it. That wouldn't be right. Right. So, ooh, look at that. And it's really quick and simple, not very many ingredients. And remember, you can add and take things away, you can experiment. So here's my lovely bowl of soup. See where you can see that, there we go. Move this out of the way. Here we go. Here's my bowl of soup. Here's my cheese scone. Going to be controversial and do a bit of dipping to taste it. Mmm. Oh, okay, so that is so good. I'm going to go now and eat my lunch, and I really hope, if you would like to, you don't have to, but if you'd like to, that you could have a go at making one of these or both of them, and then can you send them to your email address so that we can see in school what you've been up to and see what it looks like compared to mine. Let us know if you added anything, taken it away, if you did anything for dietary requirements, you could share them. So if you made it all dairy free or gluten free. And then I would like you to have a think about who you would like to see next cooking in their kitchen, doing a cook along with them. Would you like to see Mr. Jones, maybe he'd make a pavlova? Would you like to see Miss Cameron making a curry? Would you like to see Mr. Hewitt making, what would Mr. Hewitt make? I can't even decide. So let us know, and then someone else is going to be making a video next week and you can see theirs. Okay, happy eating, happy cooking, bye!